Hello, this is Giovanni from Giovanni's Wick Editor tutorials and wickeditor.com, and today we are going to learn how to do a platformer demo using Pix engine and Wick Editor. Under the description below you will find the Pix template zip file that you have to download. A page like this will show up and you have to click download button here and put it into your local machine. Once you have downloaded the Pix engine template zip file, you have to unzip it. Then you will want to rename it using the name of the application that you want to develop. In my case, it will be Platformer Demo. Now, if you open this folder, we have a structure in place. This is to organize your game or application. Your Wick files will be under the Wicks folder, and you will find the Pix engine template and the sprite template. Once we are in Wick Editor, we need to locate the Pix template file that you just download. So click on Open. Under the Wicks directory, select the Pix engine template.wick file, do double click, and the engine will be open. As you can see, we have like three elements in the screen. We have the debug information, we have a yellow squared, and we have a platform, a green platform. So if we look into the layers, let's click on here. Let's just do this. So we have the debug layer. So the debug layer only has the debug information, which is this information here. This will tell you what are the physics parameter of this square physics body. Then we have the bodies layer. This is intended to have all the physics bodies within it. So right now we only have player one, which is this yellow box here. Then within the colliders layer, we will have all our platforms and walls, and why not? Then in graphics, we will have all our drawings or our sprites, so we can have a much beautiful level. And in background, we will be putting, of course, backgrounds like clouds, mountains, and why not? And then we have these two last layers that only has code. The first one only has the engine code. Let me put this into the, at least, a better font size for this video. Alright, and then in the user code is where we will be putting our code to develop our game. So the engine code has some parameters that we might change in the future, but almost every single parameter that we will be working today, they will be under the user code layer. If you click in these orange circles, you can switch between those two codes, here for the engine and here for the user code. Okay, now let's click on the title here. Let's rename this Platform Demo, so this is my application name. So we are attempting to run this 60 FPS, and then for the camera, this is important. We will be using as a width 1250 and 700 as a height, and then let's click apply. Now let's press play button. Okay, so we have gravity, we have our physics body colliding with our platform, we have a squared grid, and we have the camera frame. It's important to know that the camera frame will inherit our project size, which is these two numbers. and that's different than the level size. So, as a tip, the level size has to be greater or equal than the camera size. Okay, now let's talk about the grid size. The grid size is what we called in our engine the Pix unit. If we inspect the engine code, you will see the first attribute under the Pix engine settings is the Pix unit, and right now it's set to 50. That means that every component, physics body, or platform shall be at least 50 pixels long. Now, let's see what we have under the user code. If we collapse line 1 and then line 48, we can see a bigger picture of the code. First, we have an object called player 1 settings, and then the other level 1 settings. Then we are adding the level 1 settings into our Pix engine, and then we are telling the Pix engine to start level 1. Then if we expand player 1 settings, we can see our, let me collapse physics body, and then collapse controller, and then collapse animator. So under our player 1 settings, we have our physics body settings, and then our controller settings, and then our animator settings, which are commented out. If we explore now and expand physics body, we can see all our properties. First, we have the clip name. If we go back to our window and click here, you can see that our physics body has a clip name player 1. So that's the same name that we have to put in our engine under the player 1 settings, physics body settings, and then clip name, which is player 1. Then we are establishing the mass, then maximum velocities. Then if we want our player to have air jumps, then what is the force that we are applying for our physics body to do the jump? First thing, same thing with the walk force. How many force are we applying so the physics body move? We have air acceleration factor, enable wall friction set to false, enable floating. This means that you can float after you jump. It's set to false right now. Enable dash is set to false. Enable air dash is set to true. Dash factor is set to 5, which is if this is enabled, then this is the dash factor that will be enabled for the physics body. Also, how much frames this dash will last, and then if we want to apply an effect to that dash. Okay, now let's continue to the controller settings. So we have to tell the engine whether or not we want the control to be active, and then we have some keys assigned to our actions. For now, we can walk, jump, dash, up and down. For walk, we have the left and right key assigned to it. X for jump, Z for dash, up for up, and down for down. As you can see, we can move left, we can move right, we can move left again, right. We can jump, I think, with X button. Since we don't have like air jumps, we cannot jumps in the air, do jumps in the air. Okay, if you press the X button, like slightly, you can do like smaller jumps. Let's enable dash, set to true. If we press now Z button, it will dash. Oops. Let's see what else do we have to play. So now let's put like a jump force of, I don't know, 20. Or, yeah, 20. And let's try again. So now we have like a strong jump going on. Let's see what else. Let's put it in 12. Let's see the difference. Yep. So now it seems that I can jump until the camera border. So now we have mass. Let's say that our mass is 1 instead. And let's try to jump with the same strength. So now I cannot jump higher anymore because I'm too heavy. Okay. Oh, oops. Let's go to under the user code. Okay. Let's return the mass to 0.5 and the jump force to 6. Maybe 8. So you can keep playing and playing based on your need, your game needs. So now, oops, let's go to the user code. Now let's put like 1 air jump. Let's do 3 air jumps. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Then let's just, oh, it's user code. Instead of putting 3, let's just put 1. But then let's enable floating with the same jump button. Then you have double jump and then float. This is pretty cool. 1, 2, and float. Also, we can have only floating without double jumps. So you will set air jumps to 0 and enable floating to true. So you will be jumping and then pressing jump button again to float. Oh, I'm dying. Then we can also change our controller settings. Let's say that we want the AWSD configuration. So we can put left instead of left. We can put A, and here we can put D. Down could be S, up could be W, and I will keep jumping with X and dashing with Z. So let's try now. Left, right, is working fine. Yo. So we can do that. I always prefer the left and right for some reason. I don't know why, but left, right, up, down. Okay, now let's see what else do we have. Let's for a moment collapse player 1 settings and let's inspect these level settings. So for our level we can have multiple players. So for now we have only 1, and we can add more than that player into our level settings under the level settings player settings. Let's say that we have a player 2 going on, so we can add it in here, player 2 settings. Since we don't have any player 2 settings, let's just forget about that for now, but that's the way that it works. Okay, then we specify the frame where the level is. For example, we are currently in level 1. Let me, okay. We have a collider, a physics body, and the debug data. Everything under frame 1. So this level is under frame 1, so we have to tell the engine that the level 1 is under the frame 1. Let's see what else. Then this is the level dimensions. So as right now we are putting 1250 and 700, which is the same as the camera dimension. So always our level must be greater or equal than the camera dimensions. So let's change this to maybe 3000. And then we have the gravity for the level, I'm sorry. It's set to 0.7. If we set this to 3, so the gravity will be higher, and so on. Then under the level settings, also we have our camera settings. So this camera settings is important because the camera will be focused on one physics body at a time. So for this example, we only have one physics body, which is the player one. But if you have multiple, you can change the clip name in here, and the camera will be focused on that clip. Now that we change the dimensions of our stage, let's hit play to see what happens. Okay, everything seems similar, but if I do like zoom out, you will see now that we have the camera frame, but we also have a white border, which is the length of the level. Now, if we move to the left, nothing happened because the engine is smart and knows that the level doesn't have anything to the left. But if we move to the right, then the camera will start following the player. Okay, now let's add more fun. Let's add more platforms into the mix. We can do that by just copy and paste this one. And then since our Pix unit is 50, we can do a platform of 50 pixels like this. And then we can just put it in here. Let's hit play. As you can see, we have a new platform and it's working fine. We can just do like a Mario with the coin blocks, and you know, everything is colliding and working as expected. So now it's very important to understand how the engine works, because everything shall be aligned to the grid as a Pix unit. Let's move this platform a little bit to the right to see what I'm talking about. Let's put it in 620 and hit play. So what is happening here is that the engine still believes or thinks that there is a platform starting in this corner here, because it's not aligned, and that's how the engine works. If I press now left to walk to the left, there is a point that you will see, that is still floating, but it's because of that. You have to align to the Pix unit so the engine works properly. So now let's put this back to the 600. The same will happen if we have a length different than, that is not a multiple of 50. For example, if I put um, 230, and I put it in 500. Then if you see on the right, it's not aligned to the grid unit. So in order for this to work, the engine needs to align to the Pix unit. That's why this grid is in place, so you can debug this, properly. So let's put it in 50. Same happens with the location. If it's not aligned to a multiple of Pix unit, it will fail. So right now it's in 490. So if I go to the left, you will see that it's really weird here. So you have to align this block to the maybe 500 and hit play, and now everything is properly aligned